Hi, welcome to End Credit Reviews. On episode after the credits on End Credit Reviews, it's just me, Tyler, this time from End Credit Reviews, and this is my review on Justice League Dark: Apokolips War. It's the new animated movie, and it's the final movie within the shared kind of DC animated universe. Well, not necessarily the TV shows that included shows such as Batman the Animated Series or Justice League or so on, but this is a new kind of shared universe that Warner Brothers Animation and DC Comics has been trying to make that kind of goes more in line with what's been happening in the comics in the past roughly 10 years or so. But in this one, Superman decides to launch a preemptive strike on Darkseid and Apokolips. However, it turns out to be a trap, and Darkseid slaughters the Justice League as well as take over the Earth, and 2 years go by, and it's up to various surviving superheroes and supervillains to team up to defeat Apokolips. Now, honestly, I think this movie was a fairly entertaining movie and had plenty of action, but I thought it was a fairly, decent movie. I wouldn't say it was like a great movie, but I think my two biggest criticisms of this movie is that, for one, some of the deaths are pretty effective in this movie. I'm not going to spoil who dies necessarily, but honestly, I think that a lot of the background characters, the various superheroes and supervillains, when some of them die, it wasn't really that emotionally stirring because you didn't really get to know them that well, so they came off more as glorified cannon fodder rather than just being like, oh, that's so sad that one character died and that sort of thing. And I know it's a shared universe, so you would think that it would come off more as like emotionally stirring when that happens, but not necessarily the case. And that's why the DC animated universe with Batman the Animated Series, Justice League, Batman Beyond, and so on, with hundreds of episodes and various movies, it was far more easier to get emotionally attached to those characters rather than the characters in this one. Another issue that I have with this movie, as well as the other movies within this kind of shared universe, is that they kind of feel the need they have to be overly violent and have too many swear words. And I am aware that movies such as Batman Mask of the Phantasm and Batman Beyond Return of the Joker did have various violence and mature moments, but they didn't really feel the need to kind of like put in some like swear words like, oh yeah, we're gonna just do this and that and that's kind of more acceptable, I guess, and we're trying to go to various demographics. And I just feel like being mature but not feeling the need to be excessive in violence and swearing comes off as more mature rather than being overly liberal with like, okay, well, here's a lot of blood and here's a lot of swearing and sexual stuff and so on. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents on that. But also, I would say that the animation is fairly pretty good for a direct-to-video movie, but I've honestly never been really that impressed with the animation quality with these movies because they do feel like they kind of feel like the same production budget of a TV show such as Young Justice. And it's competent, it's fairly well done, but it's not necessarily the same animation quality that we would see in various other DC animated movies. Even that Mortal Kombat movie that came out recently, I think that movie had far more impressive animation compared to this one. Alright, so what exactly did I like about the movie? Well, I gotta say that the movie was very entertaining. There was really no dull moment, which I liked about it. There was a lot of high stakes in this movie, and I also liked a lot of the characters as well, and I felt like the character of Constantine was interesting. I know they're trying to focus more on him because he's definitely a fan favorite, and he's voiced by the same actor who played Constantine in the short-lived TV show that's really gotten a pretty strong cult following. And also, again, I really liked Tony Todd's performance as Darkseid in this movie. I will say him and Jeremy Ironside are my two favorite Darkseids, at least when it comes to the voices, and it's a pity that we're probably never gonna see the Darkseid in the live-action movies in the DC Extended Universe anytime soon. So right now, I know that I'm kind of sounding like a bit of a stinker because I'm looking at the user score rating on IMDb as I'm recording this right now. It has a 8.2 out of 10 on IMDb, and I think it's a fairly decent movie and fairly entertaining. I did like the various scenes of Harley Quinn with the Suicide Squad, but other than that, I think it's not necessarily the cream of the crop, but definitely the better half of various DC animated movies. It's not like some of the other DC animated movies that try to get political, or some of the other kind of cringy moments in the past where we would see Green Lantern say, oh yeah, I can't wait for TMZ to catch this, or when Zatanna mentions like Brexit for some reason, and it just comes off as painfully dated. But anyway, I think this movie, again, is a very entertaining movie, in various ways a satisfying and kind of a very decent conclusion to the series. And personally, I just strongly prefer the various DC animated movies that kind of are more based off the pre-existing works of fiction, because DC has plenty of awesome graphic novels to choose from and to adapt, and I really hope they go in that route instead of trying to go in this route, and I'm pretty satisfied that they decided to just end this and move on to other projects. So as for Justice League Dark Apokolips War, I would give it about 2.5 stars out of 4. So anyway, this is Tyler from End Credit Reviews, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of After the Credits on End Credit Reviews, and I hope to make a lot more in the future. Please like and subscribe.